Hey, what's up, guys? Let me know if you guys can hear me in the chat. How are you guys doing this evening? Let me know if our sound quality is good. I apologize for the delay. Make sure that we are live. Hello, Taylor. How you guys doing? Just let me know if the volume is all right, guys. Give it a few minutes. Okay, we have 106 in the chat.
Very nice.
How you doing, Craig? One of you guys let me know how the volume is for us. Make sure that everything is good. Volume is great. Thank you, buddy. All right, guys. All right. Hey, guys. This is Brian from Whisper Status 74. Welcome to the community. Welcome to the channel. You guys, first time you're seeing me, please consider liking and subscribing. I'm also here with Shane from Spare Change. Please check out Shane's channel. Shane is doing the production for today. You will see him on camera as well. I am here with a dear friend, founder and owner of Value Electronics, Mr. Robert Zohn. Robert, how are you this evening?
Thank you, Brian. I am terrific, and I'm so happy again to be with you and all your wonderful members here, and of course with Shane from Spare Change. Thank you all, and thanks for inviting me back.
Well, you were inviting us. We are in the Scarsdale location, and we are in the gallery. We are here today with the G2 and the C2. Yes. And Robert, I'm going to have you just explain the differences between the two for everyone out there that doesn't know. And I'll have you just give a brief overview of your thoughts on both. The C2 was released here a few weeks early.
That's right.
We covered that 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, it would be 2 weeks. And yes, the G2 is also here 2 weeks early.
Yes, thank
you. We are the first here to cover it at Value Electronics. Robert, I'll let you take it away, and we'll cover initial thoughts. We also have the Spears and Munsell demo disc behind you. So we'll be covering a lot today. Robert, take it away.
Thank you very much again, and thanks again for inviting me on the channel today. It's really a pleasure to be here. And it's especially a big pleasure to be presenting for the first time in the United States LG's Gallery series, the G2. And that's on my right, which would be in your viewing on your left. And the C2, both in 77-inch screen sizes, is on my left on your right side. They're in the same picture mode. These are out of the box. They are not calibrated. They're in the standard mode as they come out of the box. And we just wanted you to get a good feeling for these two new OLED panels. LG also makes, these on the upper end, LG also makes on the lower end an A2, a B2, a C2, and the flagship G2. So these are the two high-end models. They both share the same A9 Gen 5 processor for 2022, a big upgrade in the processor this year. And they also share the same Evo EX panel, with the exception of the G2 that has the heat sink now, which will cool the panel and keep the temperature level across and stabilized across the panel, which will help reduce the threat of burn-in even further. It'll also give the processor the capability to increase the peak lumens and to give you a little bit more detail at each luminance level. So you might see a small difference. I don't know if you can see it at home through your systems, but when you're in person, you can see a slight bit more detail on the G2 and a little more higher peak lumens. Other than that, they're quite similar in their performance. The G2 has the form fit of the Gallery series, which makes the panel about 1 inch thick and comes included with the built-in no-gap wall mount. It's a very minimalist, very modern, might I say, kind of a sexy look when you wall mount it. So it's got a very, very nice appearance when it's wall mounted. You can use it on a tabletop pedestal stand. This year, optionally, LG offers 3 different pedestal stands. They have a tripod, they have a rotating, articulating tabletop stand, and a third one, which is on our website, by the way, valueelectronics.com. We feature pictures of the 3 optional pedestal stands. Today, because the stands are not ready, even though the TV is, we are using a Sanus stand for today, which is an aftermarket stand that permits you to rotate the TV to different viewing angles that you might be viewing from a different location. You can set the height wherever you want it to be. So if you want to put a sound bar or a center channel speaker below the TV, you can do that. This is another very, very big upgrade year for LG and OLEDs overall. The panel is upgraded. The sub-pixels are larger. There's no gap between them. They filled the space, the maximum amount of space. The largest sub-pixels will give us higher peak lumens, will give us better color volume, including the highest peak lumens of color volume. So you'll see the setting sun with all its yellow and orange colors instead of it being blown out. This is a great upgrade year for the panels and for the processor as well. The scaling of up-converting low-resolution cable is very clean, appreciably better again. So I'm sorry that it's a once-a-year upgrade, but this is what happens in our industry, and I encourage and promote and lobby for big upgrades every year. And I don't know what else to say about that. Well, anybody that owns any OLED TV has a world-class TV, so you don't have to think about that. But this is another very formidable upgrade year.
Well, I would say, Robert, having the C2 from your store, having that at home, I do feel it's a noticeable upgrade. I do feel it's cleaner.
Yes, it is.
I do feel it's more vibrant. We will know in the next few weeks when they are calibrated and we know the actual numbers. We'll share those with you guys. We have the G2 here at Value Electronics, I think 2 weeks early. Yeah. And the C2 was actually 2 weeks early as well. They need to take some updates, I'm pretty sure. Mm-hmm. So yes, we will deliver that information as it becomes something that we know. I know, Robert, we wanted to share the stands today, but they aren't available yet, are they?
Not yet, but they'll be probably towards the middle to the end of next week. We have all the pictures on our website, so you can see how they would adapt to your particular use case. Yep. But the pricing and availability will be middle to the end of next week. On the 77 G2s, other than plenty of inventory in our store, we actually have them in stock in 5 warehouses across America.
Excellent.
So we will ship from the closest location to your home. And
we do have the two set. There are 77s that are behind Robert right now. Robert, we're actually going to we'll have you kind of sit over to the side and we'll just run this demo real quick.
Very good.
We'll get your thoughts while we run the demo.
Very good. Thank you.
You want to run the demo quick? So this is the Spears and Munsell demo. Let me go ahead and get that back into the solo layout. Get the aperture down nicely. And you want to start it from the beginning? So we're not in a completely dark room right here. Again, the G2 is on the left. We're going to redo the demo. This is Stacy Spears' demo. Robert, let you take it away if you want to describe the demo material or anything you want to say in regards to the two
Thank
channels.
you. And this is Stacy Spears, a 10-bit test disc, my very good friend Stacy Spears, who last year ran our TV shootout for us. And I am inviting him back again for 2022. He's quite the video engineer to have on your team. And this is content that he's put together on his disc. You can easily see, at least in person here, we can see the difference. This is my first time seeing them side by side.
Yeah, all of us.
Yeah.
So it's actually, you're getting the very spontaneous thoughts of all of us in the room.
This is my very first time.
Which is a real treat. We do have the YouTube demos that we usually see on the channel as well. But due to Wi-Fi, we are going to run the disc that we don't have any compression. You're seeing compression on your side. But if we stay here, you can see the blues are a little bit different on the G2.
Yes.
And we do have, you can definitely see a little bit of difference in color. They are set up the same. Neither one of them are calibrated. So we'll just keep stressing that.
But as you said earlier, we will do another video showing them side by side calibrated in their best picture mode.
Yes.
So this is pre-calibration in the out-of-the-box mode.
Absolutely.
And then we will do another video in another 2 weeks at the most. We'll compare them side by side calibrated.
Yeah. The thing is, we want to give Dewayne Davis, the renowned calibrator, more time with each panel to be able to really discern the differences and get the numbers. I don't want to rush him with that. It is an art, as many of you know. And that way we'll report back with Dewayne when he can spend some time with us and speak on it. Keep it classy. Thank you for the super chat. Very, very kind and generous of you. But this is the first time seeing them together. And we'll run this demo several times for you guys. We'll also do the different presets. Right now we are actually in standard and we are in warm all the way down to warm 50. But these otherwise are out of the box.
I must tell you, these are gorgeous TVs. I am having such a good time here. These are really stunning TVs. The demo material from the Spears and Munsell disc really just exploits the beauty of these TVs that they can deliver.
And make sure you guys turn into the shootout, which we will be doing again. And I think hopefully Stacy will have the new demo material. Is he hoping to have that
I believe
ready?
he will. It's going to be a 2-disc. The next generation of Spears and Munsell test disc has so much content on it that it has to be authored on 2 discs.
Yep. So what you're going to see from myself, Robert, and from Shane is a lot of these little mini competitions between the panels that we have in store. This one's a little tough. Both panels are 77-inch. Robert, I know, is not logistically the easiest. But think, we'll be doing QD OLEDs, we'll be doing Sonys, we'll be doing just about everything that enters the store. We'll be doing these mini shootouts, mini competitions. I know it's hard to show on camera, so most of it is descriptive from what you're hearing us say. Are you mic'd up, Shane, or no? Shane is not mic'd up. Shane, you have any thoughts that you want to share? Shane from Spirit Change?
So, like I was saying on yesterday's stream, that I personally wasn't that enamored when we unboxed the C2 last week. I thought it was a little bit duller looking than I'm used to, especially coming from the Samsung. But in contrast to the G2, it's clearly a brighter television set. The black levels are definitely better. Colors seem to be more richer. Of course, these are just out of the box settings right now. What is it, on Vivid or Standard or something?
These are standard warm 50.
So yeah, so straight out of the box, standard, warm 50. So as level as we can get it right now, without them both being calibrated, the win definitely goes to the G2. I mean, right here, the bright yellow on the pen, specular highlights are better. Just a much more HDR pleasing image. I mean, this specular highlights here is just way better on the G2. Blacks are better as well. You can see shadow detail a bit better between the buildings, where it's a little bit more muddier on the C2.
It does seem a bit sharper, doesn't it, Shane?
Yeah, it does definitely seem a bit sharper, a little bit cleaner as well. I think because it is brighter and the black levels, like, making the image pop a bit more. So the contrast just looks better on the G2. So, I mean, for my money, I would definitely go for the G2.
You got a special shout out to John Reformato, who is in the chat. John, how are you, my friend? I hope all is well. Hope to see you guys. Hope to see you very soon. So John is in the chat.
Thank you,
Robert.
John. Very good.
What's up?
And the reason, Shane is correct in what he said, the reason that we see more detail and more pop is because of the higher peak lumens and the way the new processor has been tuned to exploit all of the detail of every step of luminance level. So in a 10-bit panel, which these are, there's 1,096 steps of luminance. But because we can reach a higher peak lumens and therefore have a larger dynamic tonal range, and with this new processor extorting all the benefits of that, we can actually see more detail. And that's a combination of the processor and the higher peak lumens. So those are the reasons why we see a little more detail. Now, with all that said, these are gorgeous TVs. You separate them and put them in 2 different rooms. If you don't have something to compare it to, your brain fixes things, and no shame in owning a gorgeous 2022 C2.
And my challenge, I think, with the C2 is the C2 is so vibrant that you can see a little bit more detail. The C2 is actually so vibrant that, I mean, it would be interesting to see if this was a C1 or a CX, but...
Well, we'll do that in one of our future videos as well.
It's very vibrant. And as you guys are seeing, you don't see any... Oh, there's a noticeable brightness here.
Yes,
on the owl to the left, if you guys can see that. I'm not sure you can. And I apologize, we're not in a completely dark room. We do have skylights in the gallery.
Yeah. And we'll be publishing luminance level values on these TVs shortly as well.
Wendy, what do you think? Did you want to jump on the mic and tell us what you think? Wendy, come on. Come on, Wendy, jump in there. Leanne, you want to jump in? As I've mentioned, this is a true family business here. We have 310 in the chat watching.
Beautiful.
You guys.
Very good.
So thank you guys for watching. We really, really appreciate it. Very, very fortunate to be in the store today. And thank you to Robert, Wendy, and Leanne for their hospitality and generosity. We are in a store that is a business that is operating, and we have 277 TVs next to each other. So it does interrupt business. So I do really appreciate you guys having us in here.
Yeah. How gorgeous these images are. They are just stunning. This is beautiful world-class video here. Thank you.
Now, you think we can grab the other remote to maybe change the preset? Do you want to change the presets at all?
That would be on these remotes.
So unfortunately, the magic remote requires me to have the other remote. You want to run that back to HDR10? You want to try HDR10 instead of, or how about Dolby Vision?
Oh, that's good. Dolby Vision.
Yeah, so we're gonna run
these
Dolby
support
Vision,
Dolby
guys.
Vision, right?
And then I'm gonna need the other. We'll need the other remote.
I think you have both of them there.
Do I have the other LG one?
Yeah.
Well, one for each TV.
Oh, each one of these is different. Okay.
Yeah. The remotes are keyed to each TV, so Brian's got two remotes there.
I do. Okay. So we're just gonna run the Dolby Vision, and then we'll actually change the presets onto another.
And these are ready out of the box with the latest Dolby Vision.
No, actually, if you pause that scene, can you pause that one, Shane? So here we are. Typically, they would dim right away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Check the ABL.
Yeah, typically they would dim already.
Well, this year we have another advantage to the LG's 2022 OLED module from LG Display is that the panels are much more electrically efficient.
Yeah.
So they draw much less current, but they also are natively brighter, even though they're drawing less current, which makes them run cooler, of course, operate with less cost, but ABL is reduced. There's no ABL issue. The power supply has been beefed up a little bit, and the panels are more energy efficient, drawing less current, so there's no ABL issue any longer.
Yeah,
so that's the anti-brightness limiter, ABL.
Yeah, so we're seeing it. For those of you that are familiar with this demo disc, this is typically, it'll dim pretty quickly, and the whites are actually pretty white.
Yes, they are. Yes.
Which is typically, now we'll see in another one of these little mini, when we get the Sonys in here and we get the Sony LEDs, we'll be doing these little competitions with some of the smaller sizes.
Yeah.
But you guys got to stay tuned. We're going to see from LG, we're going to see the ZX2.
Yes, a Z2.
Z2, which is my favorite TV.
Yes.
ZX is my favorite TV of all time, which I thought was amazing.
It is indeed.
And we're looking for the 90.
I want to comment on this frame. Yeah.
And Robert, take it away. We're going to comment on this frame.
I just wanted to comment on this frame. It's not Dolby Vision. Yeah.
Because we're splitting it. Probably.
Yeah.
Oh, we're splitting. Okay.
And what you may notice is that if you look at the center of both of these, that it looks a little magenta on the left and a little cooler on the right, but that's the way the image is across the screen. So if we had them stacked on top of each other, the colors would match.
Yeah. Yeah, and we are off angle. We did angle them in as they were flat. We just didn't have the room for them. It's just that these are two monster panels. But
color fidelity is the same. Color volume is a little bit better on a G2 by a small amount, and peak lumens is higher, and a little bit more detail in the image because of the extra steps of larger dynamic range.
What I like about when you have a step-up model this close to the next one is that if you want to pay for that little bit of extra love, you're not, and you have the C2, you're not losing out.
That's
I always
correct.
find that's interesting when the flagships are pretty close. You can choose to pay more for the G2, but have amazing performance with the C2, which I thought was pretty beautiful image.
Yeah. Again, we're critically viewing these next to each other, and we're not maliciously exaggerating. We're just trying to make the point of the differences. But these beautiful TVs are much more like each other than they are different. You can see the advantages of the G2, as you should be able to, because it is a step-up model, and it has these benefits.
So now we're pushing 2,000.
Yep. So we're showing content that's graded at 2,000 nits, and the panel has probably the capability to do maybe 900 nits.
Yep.
Again, I must say, Stacy Spears has some beautiful demo content here.
Yeah.
This is very beautiful.
So subtle.
Yeah.
Subtle and natural.
On the Spears and Munsell 10-bit disc. Beautiful.
You see the banding? I don't see any.
Oh, that's the other thing. Thank you for bringing that up. We've seen quite a few of these panels this year because we're doing a lot of QC and calibration work for our clients. And these are the cleanest panels we've ever seen. So there's no perfect ones, but there's an appreciable improvement this year.
The 55 I have at home is flawless. So the 55 C2 that I have at the house is absolutely flawless. Very clean, and I don't have any of that white spider web thing that we've talked about. So, Jay, Steph, thank you so much for the super chat. Very kind of you. Really appreciate you guys watching. So, I know for my CX, I did have some black fluttering floating backs. I haven't seen any of that with the C2 at all. So it's been pretty amazing. Shane, if anything you want to pause on or comment on, you want to stop frame by frame. We're going to run some demos too, guys, but for right now.
Now, in the upper, see this part would show some banding. And man, I want to say I see a little bit of banding in that C2. Am I correct on that?
It's just tough because we have the reflection of the background behind us. The panels can be pretty reflective.
Let me see. Let me get close up. They're both clean.
Yeah,
I thought I saw a
Michael
little up here, but
Value
it's
Electronics
clean.
does have the G2s in stock right now. Wendy, am I correct in knowing it's only the 77-inch as of right now that you guys have available for the G2? 77 is, yes, Michael, 77 G2 is available at Value Electronics now. They have them in stock. And when and the 65 will be next week. And any other information that we have, Robert and I will discuss on our Sunday videos. But is there anything else you guys want to share, Wendy or Leanne, on releases? You said next week would be the 65-inch.
Yes.
And you do have the 77-inch in stock.
Yes.
Robert, if you want to talk quickly about the QC and calibration, I know we have some questions in the chat about that service that you guys offer. If you can please go through that, that'd be great.
Thank you very much. You bet. So optionally, we offer a full quality control where we go through the panels to find you a better than average one. And then after we pass QC, it goes into the break-in process to stabilize the panel so it won't drift out of calibration too easily or quickly after it's calibrated. So it stabilizes the panel. And then we bring in D-Nice, a world-class famous calibrator, to tune these up to their best ability. And he does SDR and HDR, full HD, SDR, and 4K HDR, and we calibrate all 4 HDMI inputs. And we also, on the LGs, are able to calibrate the USB and IP for streaming. So every content you watch is always in a calibrated mode. We calibrate for high ambient light and low ambient light as well. It's a VIP service. It costs $650, and it's for serious enthusiasts, and it's an option. But it's a popular option for us because we fill a niche. That's very appreciated.
Well, and the calibration and QC are equally valuable, I believe.
Yes, I think that a lot of people feel that way as well.
I mean, it's the panel lotteries we know runs rampant, and it's a little bit more on larger panels. Believe me, I know we can have issues.
Yeah.
So I know the panels that I've purchased from you, I've had to have QC'd just to make sure. And it's an extra step, and so is the calibration is just very valuable. I think to have on both.
One more thing, I did speak very boldly and very honestly about how much cleaner these panels are this year. In particular, it's the banding that I'm referring to. There's no grid pattern. The banding is greatly reduced. The panels are smooth across the entire panel. There's a small amount. It's very minimal. And I've seen about a dozen of these so far. So and they're all looked very much like each other. There still is a little tiny bit of the magenta. If you look real hard at it and you're off axis on the edges, there'll be a small amount of magenta. That started with the Evo panels.
Yeah.
It's a little bit less this year, but we still have a little bit of that. It's very minimal, and honestly, it's a non-issue.
And you have to go pretty severely off angle to see it.
Yes, that's correct.
And that would only be during white screens.
Yes, and it's minimal, and it's less this year as well, but the cleanliness of the screen uniformity is a significant upgrade this year as well. So we don't see the banding that we used to see or the grid pattern.
Shane, can we pause when we get to the specular highlights, like kind of the spark that comes out?
How remarkable to see bright images up against pure black with no glow or halo around it. How beautiful to see that.
Oh, and not only that, I think the black issues they had in CX, which had been updated out.
Yes.
The CX is solid right now, but to see them start off with the black and near black have no issues. None of the floating blacks, Robert, that we'd seen in the past, or crawling blacks that we used to see.
That's right. That's right. These images are just stunning. This is gorgeous. So anybody who's fairly near, I encourage you to stop into our showroom to see these in person. This is a sight to behold.
So for me, it reminds me very much of prior to the C1 and the CX, C9, C8's vibrancy.
Yes.
And I know they scaled that back a bit to the fear of burn-in, things of that nature. And I feel like with their efficiency in the Evo panel, they've been able to let the chain off and get back to what as vibrant as the OLEDs used to be when burn-in was such a fear.
That's right.
And Robert and I are still waiting on the words from LG in regards to that 500 pixel refresh. We will have the answer directly from LG at some point.
Well, I have a little update on that.
Please share, bro.
It is set for 500 hours, but it's a more gentle panel refresh program. It's not as aggressive, but running more often maintains the panel without any image retention or burn-in capability. So it's another way to reduce the threat of burn-in without aging the panel. So this is a very smart move. Don't worry about it running more frequently. It's running it behind the scenes, and it's much more friendly to the panel. So it's not damaging the panel, it's helping the panel. This year also, LG has added a heat sensing program where they can see where the static images on the panel that's generating more heat. So they can adjust that cooling, that thermal cooling, and adjust in the 500 cycle panel refresh to reduce and remove any image retention that's there. When image retention is gone and the panel is refreshed, there's no more threat of burn-in. So this is another good step to reduce the possibility of burn-in.
So we're saying, for those of you that just jumped into the chat who are asking about the 2000 versus 500, is we are discussing that it is a much less aggressive process, and
Correct.
It is gentle. So I think we have to be mindful that processing between years, though they share the same name, don't exactly mean the same thing. So we're very particular in the communities. That's a good one to stop on too.
Yeah.
So we do take things literally, but sometimes in the engineering space, it doesn't exactly mean exactly the same thing. So we'll have more clarity as time goes on.
How amazing to see these panels so much brighter, perfect, pure blacks. And I don't see any ABL, although I don't want to make that, I don't want to overpromise here, but we can leave a full field white pattern up there and we don't see dimming.
Yeah, for those of you that are familiar with OLEDs and have had them for years, you know, especially with LGs, at times you could have them, they would dim pretty quickly.
And that was to protect the power supply and the OLED packs.
And if you're pausing it, I mean, honestly, we're trying to force it here. And that's what we talk about with a lot of people reviewing panels, is forcing these things to have flaws. isn't always the best way to show them.
Yeah.
So I'm not forcing ABL here, but we're trying to see if we've noticed it, and we haven't, and we are in a pretty bright preset. After this demo runs, we'll move down to a different preset for you guys.
One more detail is because of LG Display creating these new panels for 2022, more energy efficient, run cooler, generate a higher peak lumens, have a longer lifespan. The pixels, subpixels are larger. There's no more gap between them. And the color volume is better. Working with their sister company, LG Electronics, to develop the right way to process the image so it takes advantage and exploits all these benefits that LG Display built in. We now have better color volume because they're boosting the red, green, blue, not just the white subpixel. So we're seeing much better color volume this year as well.
Excellent. And being the one lone gamer in the room, I will tell you that, and for those of you that are fearful of it, I game hard with both consoles and a PC on my CX, my C1, and now on the C2. I have had no image retention problems on the C2. The gaming optimizer has been updated. It looks amazing. You can actually alter the picture settings without leaving the optimizer this year, Robert. You don't have to go out of it. But for those of you that think it's an oxymoron to have an OLED that's for gaming, it's a misnomer. I game on them hard. If you are going to play the same game over and over again, my routine is to simply run a demo after a few days, get the rest of those pixels firing if you're going to have those HUDs. But you don't need to remove HUDs. You don't need the opacity to be down. They are very friendly to gamers. And I think that LG is far and away the best gaming display out there right now.
Yeah, very good. And there are quite a few. I'm sorry, I'm not the serious gamer, but there are a number of new gaming advantages this year as well that they've built in. So they always were known to be the best monitor for gaming.
Yeah.
And they've even enhanced the gaming improvements this year quite a bit as well.
And Robert, I know we had said that the HDMI inputs are now on the side on both panels.
I love that.
So,
yes.
And we are full.
The backs are completely redesigned with good cable management. And it's
much more accessible.
Yeah. And probably everybody knows because I've spoke about this quite a bit, but they're much more ecologically friendly. The packaging, the box, the styrofoam, the ink on the box itself, the panels, the stands, these are much more friendly to the environment. TVs are a problem because of the heavy metals and the plastics, but LG addressed all that this year, as did some of the other manufacturers, thankfully, as well.
Now, Robert, the panels themselves do look quite different. For those of you that are not familiar with the Gallery series, we do have a silver bezel. I know Robert had mentioned that, but they do look a little bit different this year.
Yes. Well, the bezel itself is now 1/8 of an inch. Last year, it was 1/4 of an inch. So the bezels are reduced 50%. It's all screen. Very nicely done. The C2 has a very dark silver gray bezel. The G2 has a silver bezel, but that's on the edge. You only see the tiny, tiny bit of silver next to the 1/8 of an inch bezel. It's very minimal, and many people tell me they love it. Some people tell me they don't love it.
Yeah. Now the G2 also is equal thickness all the way down the panel. It doesn't have the large backing, but it's also not as thin as the top of a typical OLED.
That's right.
But they do, and you can see it in Shane's video, which we just shot, which will be up shortly, on the full presentation and unboxing where Shane goes into depth of the panel, its thickness, and the back and the entire body. But they both feel very premium. I'm blown away by how light the C2 is.
Yeah.
But still feels premium. So it's in the stand. I do like the improved stand. The stand was so heavy years ago with the back.
Yes.
Was like a counterweight, but
yeah. Very good.
I'm very, very impressed.
Boy, these are gorgeous.
So again, after this, we'll change to the more accurate presets.
Okay.
And then if we want, we can also run some demo material. Let's see if the Wi-Fi can hang in there. You're having some buffering. We're all on the Wi-Fi here, so we're really testing it. And if we got into a pure dark room, things would look twice as bright as far
They
as I
do.
would
They do.
say.
Yes.
So we do have minimal space, but there you go, Shane.
Yeah. So I know a lot of times when the screen goes to black, like it is now in some spots,
Mhm.
that you'll see some reflections from the open window shades behind us.
Yeah.
That is the way it is. So know it, understand it. It is what it is.
Yep.
If you have opposite the TV, bright objects, windows, lamps, when it goes to pure black, you're going to see it. The advantage, though, of pure black and a glossy screen is a sharper image. And black is the single most important element of picture quality that the human visual system enjoys the most.
Absolutely.
So window treatments are your friend, as are low ambient light
Yep.
viewing. And they stand up beautifully in high ambient light. And most of the time you won't notice any of that. But when it goes to pure black, if there's a light behind it, like a window facing it, windows on the side, left and right, or windows above it, do not affect an OLED TV.
It is the irony of OLED is that its greatest strength can become a mirror
Yes.
because it's pure black.
That's correct.
Where a purplish LED, yes, in a bright room, but the minute those lights go off, you're seeing
Yes.
purple.
Yes.
So it is a trade-off. We do have the plastic still on the screens. These
yes.
are going to be calibrated and broken in. So I did not want to remove the
Right.
plastic off of them.
Yeah, and that unfortunately adds to the reflectiveness and glare.
Yep.
These have the protective shipping plastic on top of them.
Yeah.
So sorry we didn't take that off.
No.
These would not have as much reflection and glare.
Now, Shane, if you move the camera over to the right, you can see the C2 on the other wall,
Yep. This one.
all the way to the right. That's an LG demo and how vibrant that panel is. So that is just demo material. That's just LG's demo material, but that's still very stunning.
It sure is.
And it's not obviously the most accurate, but that's the kind of thing that I think people see when they walk into a room
That's right.
and say, wow, oh my God, that's
Yeah.
old. And you would think it's an LED. At least I thought it was an LED when I first walked in.
Well,
So
it certainly is bright, that's for sure.
yeah, so we're going to actually run some of those demos after we change the presets here. So we'll
One more thing about the peak lumens is they are much brighter again, but also because we are seeing the peak lumens against pure black that a LCD type panel can't do, the perception is that it looks much brighter than it is because our visual system can only see a certain amount of what's called f-stops, dynamic range. And when you start at infinity, pure black, and you see 900 nits of peak lumens, that's real bright compared to when it's put up against black. So it's beyond even what we can see in the human visual system.
Yeah, going back to plasma contrast ratio being king, I think that I was definitely somebody who got really hooked up on wanting 3,000 nits and 4,000 nits. But when the contrast ratio disappears, you're just asking for peak brightness, but without the blacks, it doesn't even show up. It just, and then we were seeing a lot of that peak brightness was only in certain windows anyway.
That's right.
So it wasn't really useful to have the blacks not be compromised, which was my true worry, even when the A90J had gotten brighter, was that we would lose that black level, and we have not. So that's, I'm happy to report that on both the G2 and the C2.
Yes, very true.
So this demo is almost over.
Nice.
No.
I just wonder, where can we go from here?
Well, I guess we're going to see in a few months with our QD OLEDs.
Yes, that would be
From
interesting. Yes.
Samsung and Sony. You guys will see them here at Value Electronics.
Again, those are limited to 55 and 65
Mhm.
inch screen sizes.
But you guys will see a similar comparison.
Yes.
We will do comparisons between one of these OLEDs or Sony's OLEDs and the QD OLEDs. So you'll have a lot of comparisons coming up, such as this. I'm thankful that they're going to be smaller sizes because it'll be a little easier for us to manage in store.
Yes. Very good.
But Shane, yeah, we're going to...
And by the way, on the shipping, next week we'll be shipping 83-inch C2s, C2 83 next week, along with 48-inch C2s also next week.
Yeah, this remote is not going to work. That's not the remote. Here's your cinema. See if that one will.
Which mode are you going to go in?
Let's go into. See, they're going to conflict with each other.
Yeah, I guess so. Sorry.
That's okay. And that other remote's not available, right?
Maybe. I think you got to point at this guy over here. I don't know.
See, and what we used to be able to get away with, everyone, is that, again, let's see the different presets, standard versus cinema, was that the Magic Remote now locks in to one or the other. So we do have another service remote that we'll get briefly if we can. You let it run like that, Shane. Just at least you'll see standard versus cinema.
I can't get the remote now, but one of those should work on this TV if we just point to that TV over. Let's see which one it is.
So it's going to take this service remote. Okay, now neither one of them is working.
Nothing wants to do it anymore, huh?
No, because the Magic Remotes are.
Take that off your headset.
Okay, at least
It
that
was
one's
working before.
Yeah, but I think that they're. Well, this is all right. So it's pretending to work on both here, as you can see.
Oh,
All right.
yeah.
So now, as I go to settings, because I think this is a C1 remote. All right. So when I come over here, see, it's trying to register a new remote, and then
Maybe if I can block this one.
yeah, it's actually a good idea. Yeah. Nope, it's not gonna let me do it. It'll let me work on that one, but it won't let me change the picture on this one.
Maybe that remote.
No.
No, it's
Sorry about this, guys. I can change this one back, so we'll have to just deal with it here for the time being. So one of these is last year's. So this is the C. What's funny is that this is working on the C2, but this
Yeah,
is the
I know.
G2 remote.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just wow, that's gorgeous.
It sure is, isn't it?
Drew, the stand is actually sold separately
On a G2.
on the G2.
C2 comes with it.
Yeah. And Robert, there are 3 stands available.
Right. I have the picture of them on our website.
Yeah, I'll attach it when we publish this. Shane, for a second, just show that G2 or that C
The
over there.
picture is so dynamic and so detailed, it naturally looks 3D. It looks like we're looking at a 3D image
It is gorgeous.
because of the dynamic contrast ratio. Look at that picture. That is crazy good.
So I think this is actually a. It's not going to let me do it. It's I think this is a CX mode. I'm guessing. All right, so we're going to try something real quick. All right, Shane.
I can get that remote now.
Oh, can you? Okay. Guys, hold on one second. We have I have to use the remote.
I did, but I don't know how to use that. Yeah,
Hold on one second. All right, Shane. Show that TV over there. The other C1 or C2. There we go. Oh, thank you.
This is the new WebOS 22 operating system. This is the WebOS, the new operating system, the WebOS 22. 22 standing for the model year. It's a lot faster and zippier. It has a lot of new features built into it. There's so many new features this year, by the way. It has voice control. It's always ready to follow commands. There's a lot of new feature upgrades this year. I'm more focused on picture quality, which is amazing and beautiful. But I think on our next, we should probably review some of the new features that came out for 2022. And that would be good for us to do.
Absolutely.
A lot of new features here. We should also demonstrate those new features.
Absolutely. Well, that's some of the regular demo material that's off YouTube that we frequent. This is actually STR. This is an LG demo. Robert, these are some of the demos that we show in store.
Yes.
Now, while they're not quite as accurate always as Stacy's, it does push the panels a bit brighter. It does push them quite a bit. But very exciting year that we have. We also have these same panels on the Sony side with the A80K. QD OLEDs. We have Sony LEDs, Samsung. Very exciting year. So interesting that LG first out of the box to this 1-2 punch. Awesome start to the year, I believe.
Yes, it is. So all the TVs are launching early this year. We had very late launches for 2021, and this year is one of the first years that we're seeing them come out this early in the season. So this is very early stage to see these premium TVs.
Now, Shane, your camera's struggling.
I so wish everybody could see this in person. This is so stunning.
Yeah, the
and
camera
gorgeous.
is not doing it justice. It's not that the camera, it's just that we're going through this. The software that we're going through doesn't really allow more than 1080p.
This is really stunning. You see all the details in the shadows and the deep blacks. This is really stunning.
You guys forgive me, I'm dealing with one remote, so it's hard for me to change the settings on the fly. So we're going to let these kind of run. But I want to say the C2 for me is really hanging in there.
Yeah.
So that's excellent. So C2, I mean, I know, Robert, we talked about the B series, but it just seems like the C and the G is where it's at.
Yeah, well, you get the upscaling, the better processor, you're getting the better panel. It's a different category of television. Once you get into the C category, you're in the premium category with the top processor, the A9 instead of the A7 processor, and you're getting the better panel as well. So you're getting the new Evo EX panel.
What you're really seeing put to the test this year. I think the Evo was introduced last year.
Well, this is a different Evo panel, though. This is a next generation of the Evo panel.
Some of my favorite demos here from LG.
Yeah.
Can you drop the aperture a little bit? I'd run that back for you guys, but I only have the one remote. So I'm sorry they're off a little bit, guys. Aperture's down, she?
Oh, that's too bad. Oh, boy. We just gave the service remote back. We have Dewayne Davis with us today doing some calibrations. So we've been borrowing the remote that will operate both panels at the same time, but he had to take it back.
So for now, we're just watching a C2. So you guys can see it's trying to register, and you guys can't see that. The print is not bright, but it's trying to register a new remote every time I use it. So let's let that run. Tell me what you guys see in the chat. I'll pay a little more attention to the chat. I personally favor the G2. Robert, what do you think? Slight advantage?
Yeah,
You feel it's
favorite. How could you not? It's a step up model. It's more expensive. You're going to get some value for your investment. So at least we have a choice now, and it's not a dramatic difference, but it's a nice enhancement to get the G2, both in its form fit for that thin design and that built-in mount. It has moderately better built-in audio as well. The audio quality is a little bit better on the G2, and it's brighter because of the new heatsink.
So on the left, you're going to see our favorite LG, and I would pause it for you, but the specular highlights and the stars are very bright.
Isn't that fantastic? You see every star in the sky.
And you're going to see the C2 follow behind it. And
That is beautiful.
they're beautiful on the C2 as well.
Yeah.
I do love, see, like even in comparison to Stacy's material, I do love the way the highlights are in this demo.
Yeah. It looks so real to life. It's almost scary to see these big animals in front of us.
And these are actually, we've gotten so used to 83s and 85s, but seeing them together.
Yeah.
Shane's eating some pizza in the back.
Very beautiful.
I'll try to get these synced up in a second, guys.
Amazing when you see individual pixel illumination, 8.3 million pixels.
Now, Emerson, we'll have those numbers next time. We just opened the G2 a couple hours ago. Electronics has an early allocation. I love that demo.
Yeah, beautiful.
Maybe I can slow up. Is this one ahead? Which one's ahead? Which one's behind? Maybe I can slow one up. Nope. See, it's gonna.
Okay,
You got one?
I have some numbers for you guys.
You want to see it or stand? Where do you comfortable?
I'm gonna have to sit.
Give him the chair next to the TV.
Give them what?
The chair next to the TV there.
Okay.
In the mic there. Dwayne, you want to sit here, please?
Pardon me?
I'll sit in the chair.
Okay, very good.
Oh, you want to do it on the camera? Oh,
Yeah, I thought it'd be nice for you to be on camera.
okay.
And here's your own microphone.
Well, I gotta move this.
Oh, okay.
So-
I'll hold the mic.
All right. So, what do you guys think about the G2 and the C2 so far?
I like the G2 slightly better.
Slightly better.
Yeah, I like the detail. I think it's a little bit brighter. I enjoy it.
How much brighter do you think it is?
I don't know.
7%.
7%. That's a good number. All right.
Okay, so what I've done is I've measured.
By the way, I'm the audio
Hold on
engineer.
1 second.
Hold on. Dwayne went to get some more information. We've had Dwayne working today, doing some calibration work and QC work for some of our orders that we have on C2s and G2s. And then he's also measured peak lumens on a couple of the samples that we had here. And he's done that in several different window sizes, and he's done it on the C2 and the G2. And this is a quick representation. We're going to do a much more deep dive
In the different presets and
in different presets and with more time. We tried to rush this to get some information, some preliminary information. It's accurate, but it's the early stages. And here comes Dwayne. Boy, he's bringing his, what is that? Is that 20 or 30,000?
25,000.
25,000.
So
We're talking
I
about
use
the
this
meter.
right here.
Look at this thing.
yeah, this is the PR670.
Yeah.
I use this right here to measure the C2, which is back here, and the G2 over
Right.
there. Which is
I'll take that if you want. And I'll tell you, you probably couldn't get a better meter than that.
No,
That's about where,
not
that's
really.
where the world ends.
So what I found is, and I've measured out of the box cinema mode, which is going to be the most accurate mode out of the box. And I must applaud LG because just like we saw on the 98-inch Samsung, they're out of the box. They are very close to D65.
Very nice. Thank you.
Very
Samsung.
close. They're not perfect, but they're very close.
so
All
LG,
my friends in Korea, good job.
Very good job. Now, can we get this to be consistent throughout the model year? Is the question.
this is from you're saying from LG.
LG.
LG, you
Right.
said Samsung. Okay.
Samsung. Well,
LG.
Samsung on
Started
the 98. Right. For me, they started it. So let's see here. I measured from 1%, 1%, 5%, 10%, 18%, 25%, all the way up to 100% in brightness levels for both white, red, green, and blue, because all four of those numbers are important. So 1% on the G2, white is measuring 889 nits, red is measuring 92 nits, green 287 nits, and blue 32 nits. 5%. Again, 878 nits, 91 nits, 298, 32. So basically, it looks like from 1% through 10% is roughly the same.
The same values.
It's
Right.
very similar.
Very close.
Very close. 10% went down to 873, but that's within
Yeah.
the margin of error. Going up to 18%, you got 568 nits
Mhm.
on white. Red is 89, green is 285, blue is 32.
Mhm.
25%, 370 nits white,
Good.
87 green. Red, green is 278, blue is 30. So I've seen these numbers before.
Yeah.
But 75% is 222 nits on white.
Mhm.
Red is 51. Green is 163. Blue is 17. Let me just go up to 100 here.
Mhm.
Full screen. White is at 158 nits.
Mhm.
That's pretty much what it was
Mhm.
last year on the G2, G1.
G1 last year.
Yep.
Right.
Red on this one is 36 nits. Green is 158 nits, and blue is 15 nits.
Mhm.
Now, I did a rough 2-point
Mhm.
calibration in the service menu to get it to D65, which was really only about 3 or 4 clicks here and there.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
And with D65, it's still reading 878 nits.
Mhm.
Red is 93 nits, green 303, and blue is 33 nits.
Yeah. Now, the cinema mode is a dim mode. It's not the bright mode.
No.
This is not vivid or
No,
anything.
we're speaking of HDR10. So
Right.
it's really, there's only really one mode for any
That's
type
correct.
of HDR content.
That's
There's no day and night mode, contrary to what marketing tells you. Just
That's
one
right.
mode.
That's right.
So That is fantastic. And it's basically on par with my A90Js.
Very good. Very
So,
good.
Luminance wise, they matched it.
That's good.
Going to the C2
Okay, so
series.
those were the readings for the G2, the gallery
Yes,
series.
the C2, which would be here.
And I'll put this in a document in writing that you can have posted on the.
We're
Yes,
gonna
absolutely.
we'll recover this
With your
Sunday as well, Robert.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Good.
Yeah. I guess the meat and potatoes is basically everyone right now cares about, again, white, but again, you need to pay attention to the other three
Yes.
primary colors also, because it matters when it comes to content like this. White
That's
does
right.
not dictate this.
That's
We don't
right.
watch all white screens.
There's color in there.
Right.
There's color in
this.
Yeah.
Shane, you like those
Color
movies that are all white, right? It's just all white.
And that's interesting because we don't see other people measuring the colors.
Correct.
And we're just
Mhm.
measuring primary, of course, not
Primary
secondary.
colors, not the secondary colors. 10%, which is pretty much
That's the
Uh,
standard. So.
1 through 1, 5, and 10% were roughly the same.
Mhm.
And they 1% was at 779 nits on white. 10% was at 775.
I see.
Let's see, 25% was at 380 nits on white. 100%, which is full field, 150 nits. So full field, the difference
Wow.
between the G2 and the C2 is 10 nits.
Right,
You're not going to tell that visually.
right,
You're really not.
right. It's
Yep.
the specular highlights that are
The
popping.
specular highlights.
Right.
Well, what I particularly pay attention to when I want to see what an actual, just a view of an image like this and this,
Mhm.
the difference between, I will look at 25 and
Yes.
50%.
Okay,
So 25% on the C2 is 380 nits white, 87 nits red, 284 green, and 30 blue. 50% is 256 white, 56 red, 194, and 23. So that's why I asked you, with regular content, were you guys really seeing any significant differences? And you could see a slight difference, but it wasn't
Mhm.
significant, right?
Well, we do see it in specular highlights,
Quite
clearly.
specular.
Yeah, and the spears
But
of
that's
Munsell.
that's on every
But
image.
that's going to be more so bleeding into just the pure white section.
Mhm.
of it.
Yes.
When you see explosions, things
Yeah,
of that nature.
exactly. So for me, this is great. Recalling the G1 from last year, they on average, just for white 10% post calibration, they were doing roughly anywhere from 800 nits to 830 nits
Mhm.
panel variance.
Mhm.
On the C1s, depending on the actual OLED module they had in it, it could be anywhere from 700 nits to 750 nits.
Right.
So for the C1, for me, there's really not that much difference between last year's model and this year's model, luminance wise, at all. But for the G series, yes, there's a tangible difference. And for me, it's basically going back to last year's Sony models and, basically looking at it out of the box. And then when you know how to calibrate it appropriately, squeezing all of the nits out of it, it's right there on par with the G2.
So what I don't know how to explain is
Mhm.
why does a C2 physically look so much brighter than a C1? If the numbers don't seem to
it's the
pan.
module. If the module is what we call in the industry, well, the geeks of the industry
Right.
call the WBC
Yes,
module,
yes,
then that's what you're seeing.
right. Okay.
If the C1 had what we call the
I
WBE
understand.
module,
Yes.
then the differences are negligible. Like literally, there was no difference measurement wise.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you're seeing
Okay.
unless LG, maybe you have the dynamic tone mapping on. I don't know what you were looking at, but
Mhm.
it post calibration per these numbers, what I see here and what I measured with, all of the C1s that I've measured before,
It's slightly brighter.
I would call it within the margin of error of just panel variance. To be
Yeah.
honest with you, it's
Yeah.
not like it's a night and day difference.
But the G2 is somewhat brighter than the G1.
The G2, G1 on average can be anywhere from 80 nits brighter
Mhm.
to down all the way down to about 40 nits brighter.
Right.
So it's measurable. It should be visible because
It is.
again,
It is.
when I was doing comparisons with 2020 versus 2021 models,
Yep.
looking at the A90J, and it had very similar variances
right.
between brightness levels, it was visible.
Yes.
So yes, you should be able to see the difference between a G2
And a
and a
G1.
G1.
Right.
You should
And
be.
we do. We do.
Right. Yeah.
We do.
So again, for me, kudos to LG for getting out of the box close to D65. But I don't know. I'm used to the A90J, so this is nothing new. I've had this
That's
for a year
right.
now.
Right.
I've had these brightness levels for a year now. So
Yeah.
it's,
Right.
it's,
But it's nice to see
it's
LG
nice-
G2 with,
it's
with
nice
that
to, right,
peak
it's,
lumens.
right. It's nice to see another manufacturer
Yes.
being competitive with their actual light output and not just simply doing white itself. So for me, it's more so, yes, we have an alternative to the A90J, but you know, anyone who has an A90J, you've seen these numbers since last year.
And for all those watching in Korea, when Shane says, well, Shane, I'm sorry. When Dewayne says kudos,
Kudos.
that's a good word.
Kudos.
That's a
Kudos,
good
not
word.
Kudos now.
Like a noodle.
Kudos.
Okay. That's a good word.
Yeah, it's a good word.
So bravo to
Bravo.
all our good friends
Bravo.
in South Korea. You bet. Good
Yeah.
job.
So, and you know, I know a lot of people online were thinking that, you know, I don't know where they got these numbers from, but
Well, they're measuring the vivid mode in the 10%
correct.
window.
But you know, they were actually saying no. You know, calibrated D65 was going to be 950 nits.
Yes.
I haven't seen it yet. If it does, I'll let you know. If
That's
I find one of these unicorns around here, I'll let you know.
Well, I think if you probably measure the 10% vivid window, you might come up with that number.
No, and also I actually allowed the pattern to stay on screen. What my
Yes.
measurement methodology is: let it stay on screen for roughly 10 seconds. Take the measurement.
That's correct.
Not take the measurement as soon as it's on the screen, or not take the measurement 30 seconds, 1 minute, 2 minutes later.
That's right.
Because just like the A90J, it does rise in actual lumens. So on the A90J, it will go beyond 900 nits
That's
post calibration. On this one also, it will
That's
go
right.
beyond 900 nits post calibration. But that's not a very valid indication of what it can do with real content, because it doesn't work like that with real content.
Yeah.
It's always varying.
Yeah.
So
Good.
that's why I use the 10-second mark to take the measurement.
Right.
Because it's kind of like what you'll encounter with regular content.
Yeah. So now that you've calibrated a few of these 2022s, do you have any other comments that you wanted to share with everybody?
There's some bugs that I need to talk to you about.
Okay,
pass on to
we'll
LG.
fix them. No good.
You know,
That's fine. That's no
It's dealing
problem.
with Dolby Vision.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
But I mean, they're great models.
Yeah.
To be honest with you,
Yes.
I don't really have anything right now to say in depth, because I've only seen these today.
Right.
You know, I need a sample to, you know, get down and dirty with.
We'll take care of that.
So,
Okay.
but I'm so far, I'm okay with these.
Yeah. I know we spoke a little bit about the screen uniformity particularly.
Yes, screen uniformity. So I have been looking at that also. Banding wise, it's essentially, if I'm comparing year over year from the exact time frame, meaning the beginning of the
Yes.
model year, there is a huge improvement compared to last year at the beginning of the model year.
You're right.
Now, near the latter part of the model year for the 2021 models, they are consistent with what I'm seeing with these.
Right.
So if you want to purchase a 2021 model instead of the 2022s for whatever reason you have, try to get a later model.
Yes.
I would say probably manufactured somewhere after November 21.
Yeah. Very good. And I think December may have been, or January at the latest, was the last month that they made 2021s, because they tool up for the new factory, and there's a month with nothing being produced. And the first production for 2022 is actually February.
Yeah.
But January, there's no production.
Correct.
So,
Yeah.
very good.
Yeah. So.
And
Excellent.
when we say kudos, and I refer to South Korea, my congratulations to all the American product planning people as well, because it's you who've communicated our desires and requests to enhance this model year. So thank you to all LG folks for all the great work this year. Good year.
Good year so far.
Yes, indeed.
Awesome.
You bet.
I need consistency though.
Okay.
Yeah, from
I need-
everybody, right?
I need to measure this stuff in July and September, not just March.
Yeah, they're going to be updated and they're
Very
going to
good.
change. Absolutely.
So
Very good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Very good.
Yep.
Any questions in the community chat that we should discuss?
Yeah, if you guys have any questions, let us know. Can we get our hands on that remote, Dwayne, so we can sync these back
Oh yeah,
up?
we have one more need for the
Sure.
remote.
That would be great.
Thank you. Thank you, Dwayne. Okay.
What's that?
Rob, you have the remote.
I have the remote? No.
The regular LG.
Yes, the regular LG.
Oh, it's right next to you. That one.
Oh. I didn't even know I had it.
Yeah. These are LG's new QN remote.
You need that one. Okay.
And this one fell behind. Oh, losing the Wi-Fi. Now, Robert, is there anything you want to add before we sign off? I think we covered quite a bit until we can.
For all those who are listening to this channel today and forever, and for those who tune in to Shane's Spare Change channel, please tell us that you saw us on this channel. We're going to gift you an additional 5% of the purchase value that you can use towards any other LG accessory that you're interested in. They have fantastic new sound bars this year that are crazy good. They have a new 9 point something, I think it's 9.2.5 soundbar, a 14-channel Dolby Atmos DTSX soundbar that is crazy over the top good. So yes, that's right. That's correct. It'll be on Spare Change soon. So this is a big year for LG's soundbar upgrades. There's many models. I have most of them on our website. They'll be available in a couple of weeks. They're not available yet, but that would be a nice way to spend your 5% rewards credit for being a member or watching these videos from Spare Change or Whisper Status. There's a lot of big upgrades this year, and some of which I was just thinking about some things I'm still on a moratorium against announcing. But we have some more good news, and we'll be doing videos weekly disclosing, as I'm permitted to, some of this new information for the 2022 model year.
Yeah, we've done.
2022 in the television business starts in the late spring.
Yeah, we've done them. We've done these videos again. Thank you to Robert every
Yes.
Sunday.
Yes.
And we've released them every Monday at 3 a.m. as soon as we're able to really share that information. Special shout out to Rachel Dempster. Rachel, again, Robert and I send you all of our love and our
Yes.
thoughts. She's gonna share your information, or at least share my information, so I can get in contact with you. So Rachel, we're all thinking about you here.
Absolutely.
But thank you so much for the super chat. We're thinking about you.
Thank you.
But you will see on Sundays, Robert has more to share every week. But until he's, able to do so.
Right.
And we release that every Sunday, and it will air at 3 a.m. on Monday.
Very good. And I have the great pleasure and honor to work directly with the LG product planning and enhancements and engineering. And we're doing a lot of great things. This is a very, very big year for upgrades and enhancements. So we're going to continue to see a lot of great product and quality coming out this year.
And this is just the start of the year. I mean, we have from all the other manufacturers, and we're going to have more comparisons with these panels, once they're fully updated, and they're going to go through some changes. We'll also put Sony's best and the QD OLEDs, and we're going to have some fun times with a lot of the panels we're going to see this year.
Absolutely.
Especially when you see the 8K models come out, it's going to be awesome.
Absolutely.
Shane, anything you want to add before we sign out?
It's been a fun time. Be sure to subscribe to my channel for your 5% off of Value Electronics.
That's right.
Only if you're subscribed.
That's correct. That's correct.
Links in the video description down below to Value Electronics and to my channel as well.
Absolutely. This will be on the site or on YouTube as the live stream. We'll also release it as a video. But I'm very impressed with them. And I do feel the C2, the one I have at home, feels much more vibrant than the C1 that I have. So whether that measures that way or not, I do feel it's more vibrant. Even with the dynamic tone mapping I have enabled, I do feel that it's more vibrant. So whether the numbers reflect that or not, I do feel it's noticeably more vibrant.
Yeah.
At least, and I have the C1, which is much larger than the C2, and I still feel it's more vibrant. So
Yeah. Real quickly, I just wanted to add on the Z2, which is a 2022 8K OLED in 77 and 88 inch. Mid-April, we'll have our inventory here in supply. So within a month, maybe 3 weeks, we're going to see the 77 and 88 inch Z2, new panel, new processor, removable. The 8K TV could be wall mounted now.
oh wow, really?
Yeah, wall mounting it. Yeah. And we will wall mount our 88 inch Z2. We're going to have the first 97 inch G2, which we'll have around July of this year. So a lot of great high-end premium luxury panels coming out this year.
And we'll have those prices again on those Sunday videos, guys. We'll release them. Those prices aren't known due to the roadmap, but we will know them and release them. But these two look wonderful.
They sure do.
We kind of finally have them synced up, well,
Yeah.
somewhat close.
Yeah, very good.
This is great quality. The LG mini LED demos are fantastic. All right, guys, we are going to end it here.
Thank you.
I think we're great. Robert, thank
Yep.
you so much for having both Shane and I here. Really, really appreciate it. Shane, thank you so much for your help today. Thank you to Dewayne Davis, or Mr. Robert Zohn. Always a pleasure, my friend. And we're talking to you weekly. And like I said, we're going to have a video this Sunday. We'll be discussing more information
Yes.
from all the manufacturers, release dates, prices. We will air that at 3 a.m.
That's right.
And just an honor to be here and just to see Shane. Show this flame right here. Turn that. There we go.
That's great.
That looks beautiful.
That sure is.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Look for Shane's video. He'll be showing you the design, a very thorough unboxing, and then you'll see this on live. So we're actually showing this a little backwards. You'll see that from when you think, Shane, that's going to be available for everybody on Spare Change.
A few hours.
Oh, good.
So that'll be available tonight. This will be live, and then what I'll do is I'll trim this down, and you'll see this on the channel as a video as well. And as we're clearing up, I'm actually going to shoot a demo comparison at 4K 60, and I'll have that for you guys in a few days. All right, Robert, thank you again, my friend.
Thank you all.
You guys have an amazing night. Thank you so much for watching. We had 380 here, so that's very, very impressive. I really appreciate it, guys. Have a lovely evening. Thank you so very much.